One of the trees that's not native to Texas, but certainly widespread, is the mesquite tree. The mesquite tree grows in areas that the ground's been disturbed. This is a mesquite tree on my property. It's the only one I have. Mesquite trees often, where they grow, mess up the grass beneath them, and so some farmers don't like to have them. One of the things that happens in mesquite trees is every spring they bloom, and so they have flowers and they make a bean. I'm going to walk up here and see if there's any beans on this tree. There's no beans on this tree, but I have some beans that I got on another tree, and I'm going to use them and make some jelly. And so I'll look some more as I drive by. I may have gone past the time of beans, these trees blooming, but anyway, they make a long bean. So one of the things that a person can do while they're retired is experiment with various foods and things. And so today I'm working on green mesquite bean jelly. And so what I've done is, you can see here the pile I have trimmed off the mesquite beans I had. And here I have a whole pan full of mesquite beans. I've never done this before, and so I'm going to try it. I've heard of mesquite bean jelly, and so we're going to try it. So the next step on this is, after I've done this, is to take it and put it in 4 cups of water and simmer it for 45 minutes, 45 to 60 minutes. So I start with 4 cups of water here, and we'll see how this turns out. Doesn't quite cover the beans, but it's what I have. So I'll turn the stove on. Don't want it very hot at first, so I'll turn it on just a little bit. And so we'll wait a little while. So while the beans are simmering, they came to a boil, I need to prepare my jars that I'm going to use to put the jelly in. And so to do that, I put them in some water that's being warmed up. This will be my water bath when I get done. I have to seal them and then put them in the water. I also have to prepare the rings that go on the jars. So this is supposed to make 4 cups of 4 jars, so I'll get 5 of these, so I'll have an extra. And then these are the flats that go on top of the lids that go on top of the jars. Put them in the water here and warm them up a little bit. All these are warm because the jelly that'll go in will be very warm, and you seal it up, and then when it cools off, it seals the lids on it. So I have prepared the materials for the jelly. I need 3 cups of the juice. I boiled the beans and then let them steep, so this is the juice from that. I also have to put some pectin in here to make it set up, so I put that in there. I stir it to get all the pectin dissolved. The next step will be to bring this to a boil and let it boil for a minute, after which I will add sugar, which I prepared. I needed 5 cups of sugar, so this is what I have here, 5 cups. So we'll let the solution come to a boil and boil a little bit, and then we'll turn on the camera again, and we'll add the sugar to the solution. Okay, the juice has begun to boil. You can see it here that it's boiling. Let it boil for 1 minute approximately, and then I will add the sugar. You let it boil for 1 minute while you can no longer stir it down, which is where it's at right now. This is supposed to make about 5 half-cup jars of 8-ounce jars of jelly. Now I will add the sugar. Well, this is the sugar is dissolving, there's a few other pieces of equipment that we need for this. This is a canning funnel. It's a large bottom funnel. It doesn't have a fine peak like it usually does, and it fits in a jar. It allows me to put the jelly in the jar without spilling it over the edges, because I have to have clean lips on it, clean edges on the thing. I also have a pair of tongs here that I use to take the jars out of the water. It takes a few minutes for the sugar to melt, get completely melted, and then it'll start boiling, and it boils for a minute, just like it did before. Okay, the sugar's almost boiled there. Okay, it's boiling hard now, and I can't stir it down, so I'll let it go for about a minute. Getting ready now, I'll get one of the jars out of the water where it's nice and warm. You take the foam off. Takes a minute and the foam goes away. Almost to the top, leaving a little bit of headspace there. Then get a lid and put it on there. When I put the lid on and put the band on to seal it, I don't seal it very tight. I just go until it's snug, because I'm going to put it in the water bath, and the water bath will need room for the air to go out for when you're just going to seal it. Okay, I've finished putting the jelly in the jars. Now I'm going to put the jars in the water bath. I have 6.5 jars of jelly here. I'll put them in this hot water. They have to be in the water until it boils, turn on until it boils, and then after it begins boiling, they have to be in there for 10 minutes. What this does is this makes sure they're plenty warm, and it drives the excess air out of the top of the jar so that it will seal. The recipe didn't say how many jars it would make, but this did make 6, and you can see here's a half jar here that I'm going to go ahead and put in. That will be fine too. I'll probably use it first and do in the refrigerator. So I need to have about 1 inch of water on top of the jars. That gives me that with this lid right here. So you can see the jars in the water, and there's some bubbles coming out already because the water is hot and driving them out. So I'll let it come to a boil, and then after it comes to a boil, I'll let it boil for 10 minutes, after which time I will take them out, and I'll come back and show you doing that. Okay, so I let the jars boil for a minute after it got boiling. Now I'm going to take them out. I'm very carefully take them out. I'm going to move them over to another place over here. Okay, so after I take them out of the water, I put them over here on this towel. The purpose of that is to let them cool. I let them sit here for 24 hours without moving them. That helps them gel to set up. Here's the one that was just a partial one. And this partial one, if it doesn't gel, I'll just use it as refrigerator jelly. Then, because I do have an air conditioner here in the house, I don't want the air conditioner on, so I'll cover them up like that to keep them so they cool off easily. Once they're cool, the air inside the jar will contract and cause the lid to pop. And if it's not cool enough, it doesn't do that, but once it does, it'll go pop. And that's when we know that they're sealed well.